We just came back from the December 6th CSU board meeting, and we've summarized the most important points to inform you students about. So let's get into it. What happened at this board meeting? The first item on the agenda that had significant discussion was executive tabling hours. This was postponed from the Board of Directors meeting on November 15th, and it was referred to the Governance Committee for further discussion before coming back to the Board of Directors meeting to be voted on. So originally, on November 15th, the motion was each student executive is expected to make themselves available for appointments with students and staff for at least 4 hours per week, either online or at the main office of the Capilano Student Union, exclusive of the time spent in required meetings and student engagement tabling. And the president must ensure that the office hours scheduled is posted by the end of each June, August, and December. So this was changed to each student executive is expected to contribute at least 8 hours per month of student engagement tabling in conspicuous locations around the North Vancouver campus during business hours on a schedule drafted by the president and approved by the executive committee. So basically the change that was made by the governance committee was changing the tabling shifts to be weekly hours to making it 8 hours throughout the month. So this gives student executives the power to dedicate a whole 8-hour day to tabling or spread out the 8 hours throughout the month based on their schedule. So the governance committee made this change to accommodate the long travel times that some executives have so that they have some more autonomy over their schedule and when they would like to do these tabling shifts. A board member questioned the rationale for this reduction, to which the executive director clarified that the change is a reallocation and not a reduction, in shifting the 8 office hours of engagement to tabling shifts instead. When asked about the start date for the tabling, the executive director indicated it would likely begin in January. Next month, we can expect to see our CSU executives tabling in conspicuous locations around the campus, and this is a way they'll be able to connect with the community more directly. So this was carried with a 2/3 majority. When it came to voting on the executive tabling hours, those in favor were Sunshit, Priya, Sophia, Divyansh, Sagar, Prince, Harman, Sukhmanpreet, Shruti, Jasmine, and Anmal. Those against this were Angad, Ekam, Navjot, and Yuvraj. So as we mentioned in the previous video, this change to executive tabling hours was approved in the annual plan that was voted on by the Board of Directors at the beginning of the year. And even after this revision to the executive tabling hours to make it more accessible for executive schedules, you can see that there were 2 executives who still voted against this after it was reworked. The next item on this agenda was a notice for special general meeting to repeal academic standing bylaws. At the annual general meeting of the CSU, there were several bylaws that were passed that were voted on by students. Any changes to bylaws need to be voted on at annual general meetings. They cannot just be changed by the Board of Directors. So this was something that was voted on and passed unanimously at the annual general meeting. So because this was on the notices of the agenda, this will be discussed at the next CSU meeting, so stay tuned for some updates about that. At this meeting, there was only one report that was a late addition that was not submitted at the previous Board of Directors meeting, and this was by the Vice President External. A student inquired about the mention of the postgraduate work permit advocacy in the Vice President External's report, seeking clarification on this subject. However, the Vice President External was not present to address the question. Towards the end of the meeting, they went into a confidential session regarding a director's pay. So this confidential session lasted around 10 minutes. After they came out of the confidential session, the Board of Directors instructed staff to reduce the director's fees paid to the mature and parent student liaison, Anmal Sharma, by 1/3 until reversed by a subsequent resolution of the Board of Directors. This motion was slightly amended by replacing the words "until reversed by a subsequent resolution of the Board of Directors" with the words "for 1 monthly pay period." So this means what was passed was the Board of Directors instructed staff to reduce directors' fees paid to the mature and parent student liaison by 1/3 for 1 monthly pay period. This was a short meeting, but there were some important decisions made at this meeting, as well as some notices for things coming up at the next meeting. Stay tuned to find out what happens at the next Board of Directors meetings in our next video.